Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining. There are other people as well who are joining with us. So, meanwhile, I can give you a quick note. There are few industries that there are people from different industries who have showed interest in this webinar, so they are also joining with us. So you just have to wait for a while, and meanwhile, I can just introduce the topic with you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the webinar on AI in recruitment. All the people who have joined with us, I'm just letting you feel curious that what are we going to do in this webinar today. Okay, so yeah. Apart from that, there are different industries who are associated with us in this, including manufacturing, IT, healthcare, and bright students as well. So we are going to cover all the kind of areas in this, and people are going to be with us. This is going to be an interactive and informative session. So I'd request you all to just drop the Q&A. Like if you have any kind of queries or if you want to post any questions, you can drop them in Q&As, and chats are open for you as well. So this is not just me who's going to speak. You are going to be interactive with me. You have to communicate and you have the chats and Q&As open for you. Apart from that, I'll be posting the poll as well. So you just have to give your opinion on that. Okay, there are approximately 240 people who have joined with us. So thank you so much for joining. Let me start with the webinar now. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on AI and recruitment. Like you can see from Gurukul's to algorithm, hiring has evolved. So this might be giving you an intriguing note, right? Like what exactly is going to be with Gurukul and what exactly is going to be with algorithms. So this is the journey that we are going to discuss about. My name is Manali Jangir, and I am working as a research analyst in Timelabs, and I am associated with HR Tech as well. So I'm going to throw some light on this topic to make you understand more about technology and how it is playing the role with recruitment. Before we start, just give me yes in the chat section so I know that we can proceed further. That so many people have joined, so I just want to see that we can start. Just drop the yes so I just know about it. Very well. I'm getting responses from different people. So thank you so much for that. Let me start this session with a scenario. Okay. So there's a recruiter who has 522,000 resumes on the desk. It is piled up. The moment, the next day, when the recruiter enters into the office, वो एक पूरा pile दिखता है उनको desk पे with lots and lots of resumes from different candidates. What is the first reaction the recruiter is going to have? कि क्या करूँ इनका कैसे इनको हैंडल करूँ क्या करना है मुझे आगे क्या होगा process and everything. So you understand. So many people are saying yes to me, so that's a good sign. I'm actually getting with I'm actually heading with a positive note. So I've given you this scenario where the recruiter is actually associated with the manual work. Now there's a different situation. Industry has evolved, the technology has evolved, the world has enhanced, industry has the growing demand is being moving along with the industry. So now technology has taken the pace. And technology has come in front of the table, and now the resumes are still there. The candidates are still applying. They're still applying for a particular job role. But technology is playing the role. So earlier, recruiter had a pipe, and now technology is going to screen, shortlist, and move on with the process. What's easier? Like you tell me, what's easier? I'm not going to say the work that recruiter did back then with the manual thing that was not tedious. I'm not going to say that. And I'm not going to say that this was not something that was required. It is actually beneficial for the company because the recruiter is going through the process. Similarly, just because industry came, requirements came. People started to know what things are going to be, technology, how technology is going to play the role. People started shifting towards that. So, second scenario that I gave you, that's how things started moving forward. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you think the technology is easier today than it was 10 years ago or not? So if your answer is easy, then you can write easy in the chat section. And if your answer is difficult, then you can write difficult. I'm repeating the question. Do you feel that hiring today is easier than it was 10 years ago? So I've been receiving messages from different people and they are writing easy. Okay. Yeah. So people are writing easy. Yeah, that's true. Technology today has made things easier, and that's why people have started adapting them. Technology and AI is playing the role. Online platforms are there, different job portals are there. People are applying through them. Like candidates, they are applying their resumes for the particular job profile, and they have so many options. But the question here is it not difficult in a way that people have got so many options to choose from? And with so many growing options, recruiters too have so many things to tackle upon. If there are so many candidates lined up for a particular job profile and technology is playing a pace, then it is actually the competition is getting higher, information is overloaded, so it is equally difficult as well. Now, I'll give you the proof of it while we keep on moving with that. So, this session is all about how technology and recruitment is actually changing the world in a very different way. So, I'm just hoping that the knowledge that you carry before we start this session is going to take you on the road while we complete it. So, it is going to show you the path for that. Thank you so much for joining. Moving forward, this is the first slide of it. Now you see this slide, we have recruitment and it is showing the puzzled form with potential and opportunity, right? I am going to just a note of it. You can post the question, like if you have any kind of questions and queries, you can post in Q&A section so I can answer them there and then. I'll try my best to give you the answers as soon as possible. Okay. Back to the slide, we have recruitment in a puzzle form with potential and opportunity. So let's understand the term. A lot many of you are already introduced with the topic or already know about how this process works and people who have been working, they know how this procedure takes them to the company. So recruitment is basically the journey of a candidate who turns into an efficient employee in the organization. So if you see this puzzle, we have potential and opportunity. So we can just denote the potential as the candidate because the candidate is going to play the role with the opportunity he or she is going to get in the organization. So opportunity is the organization. Now you can understand जो ये puzzle सामने दिया है वो कैसे जुड़ रहा है. So recruitment in the orange part is something that is making things brighter with potential and opportunity. Apart from that, you can read the line which is given here. Finding and hiring the right talent for the right role, it connects the best people with the right opportunities. So recruitment is not just hiring the people in bulk and placing them in the organization and they are just working. It's more like hiring the right candidate, the right potential for the right opportunity in the organization. So candidate is also beneficial because the person is going to have a future, a brighter future and opportunity because the organization also needs the bright people, the efficient people who can actually make them touch the heights. Real question here is how prepared are we for hiring? How prepared are we for the intelligent hiring? And now when I'm saying the intelligent one, it is actually associated with technology. So you can ping in the chat section how efficiently we are prepared that we are going to move forward with the intelligent hiring with the technology. From Gurukuls to algorithms, and you can see this was also the tagline when we started our session. So Gurukul here is the traditional times. Now let me give you the briefings of what this slide is actually trying to say. We have a timeline where it is starting from 1700 to 1800 and then we are moving towards the orange part. So जैसे सूरज चमकता है, वैसे ही we have this 2000 to present, which is actually the present part and the future. So I'm going to give you the briefings of everything that has been mentioned so you can understand and correlate how things are working. 1700 to 1800, truth-based, word of mouth, and local observation. So let me give you a storyline for this. पहले के जमाने में गुरु होते थे, उनके बहुत सारे disciples होते थे. So Guru was actually the one who actually used to teach them, who used to make the disciples ready for the open world. So जब किंग ने किसी सोल्जर को भेजा गुरु के पास में कि हमें एक बहुत अच्छा कोई भी आपके डिसाइपल है वो हमें हमारी किंगडम में चाहिए तो आप भेज दीजिए। सो गुरु क्या करेंगे, वो अपने बेस्ट डिसाइपल को, नॉट बिकॉज देयर इज फेवरेटिज्म बट इन अ वे दैट गुरु विल सेलेक्ट कि ये डिसाइपल वो है जो हर हर एरिया में एफिशिएंट है एंड आई कैन सेंड हिम और हर टू द किंगडम। तो ये क्या है, ट्रस्ट बेस्ड है, वर्ड ऑफ माउथ है कि गुरु ने कह दिया कि ये डिसाइपल सबसे बेस्ट है सो यू कैन टेक देम। Now, if we cut that in today's era, it is actually the process of recruitment, right? Because the disciple was actually hired in the kingdom. Then we move forward with 1800 to 1900, there was factory-based hiring and newspaper classifieds. So it's just an example of it, but उस time पे newspaper classifieds हैं, so people who started reading, they used to open the newspapers and वहाँ पे classifieds जो columns हैं वो आने लगते हैं, जिनसे पता लगता है कि अच्छा यहाँ पे hiring हो रही है, so we can go in bulk, like people can go and hiring can be done in bulk. तो जैसे factory में bulk hiring होती है, वैसे ही उस time पे ऐसा होता। Then we have 1900 to 1980. Now paper-based things have started happening. HR departments are also made, and offices were also in the verge of the making. So this was somewhere where physical resumes were playing the role. So candidates now started bringing their physical resumes where they put all the skills they had on the paper and they used to line up and enter into the building, whichever was there, to get recruited. Then comes 1980 to 2000, and this was early digital era. Email applications and job portals and everything are open here, and people have started moving with that. So they started posting their resumes through the job portals, and people started going with the process. Now comes today. Now you and me are familiar with this process, how this is working. So this is the present era, this is the brighter future, and that's why this is orange and bright. This is data driven, online platforms are there, and intelligent AI filtering. So in the last slide, when I was talking about the word intelligent, this is the answer to it. Why it is intelligent? Because now artificial intelligence is playing the role in order to make the successful hiring. And with the hiring, organizations are also feeling beneficial because they are able to find the right candidate for their organization. Now, goal remains the same. इस पूरे प्रोसेस में सबका गोल यही था कि उनका रिक्रूटमेंट प्रोसेस है जिससे वो हायर कर रहे हैं उससे राइट कैंडिडेट ही ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में या फर्म में या जहां भी वो हायर कर रहे हैं वहां आए। अभी भी वही है, बस चीजें स्मार्ट हो गई हैं। पीपल आर स्टार्टेड मूविंग विद द एरा एंड द टेक्नोलॉजी। इंडस्ट्रियल डिमांड आ गई है, इसलिए ये डेविएशन है, इसीलिए ये चेंजेस हैं और इसीलिए हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। Now, just because we are moving forward, let me post a question for you and it is going to be visible on your screen where you can just give a response to it. So question is going to be there in front of you in a minute and you can pick the answer from it so you can know. So the poll is already there, the question is there and you just have to pick the answer from it. What is the ideal future of recruitment? Now you have seen how this entire timeline is working from Gurukul's to algorithm. You can pick the answer whichever you feel like is efficient and you believe that is right. Okay, people have started giving answers to them. Thank you so much for that. Um, if I could see, most of the answers are hybrid model, which says AI plus human. One of them has answered fully AI driven. Okay. Yeah, two of them. More responses are coming, so we can wait for a while till then. Okay, that's great. So the answer to this question is going to be there in the next slide. Are you screening for potential or just searching for keywords? So whoever gave an answer, hybrid model, AI plus human, is something that we can put like we can actually consider it more. Why? Because just like artificial intelligence or the technology is playing the role, human tendency, human efforts are equally important. As of now, when we consider this is efficiently important and this is how things are moving forward. Some people who have given answer with fully AI driven, yeah, that's something that you can think of as an ideal future. But if we actually talk about the word ideal, what we think now and how things are moving forward, we just have to think that way. So today in the morning itself, I was actually scrolling LinkedIn, and I got this post where an Anthropic AI CEO actually posted something like the article was there, and the person said that AI is actually going to take this thing away. AI is actually going to take the particular job away. Now, when I read that thing, I actually went through the article. I wanted to read it through, and I actually read that and understood that this thing can be considered. Now, just like we all are, I entered into the comment section because I wanted to know how people think on this topic. And you won't believe, most of the people, they were talking about this thing. They were talking about how human role is being played, how human role is playing the role with technology, how this thing is not going to happen, how this thing is not ideal, like completely AI or completely technology driven. This is not going to be ideal. So that is how people were debating. I was going through the comment section, I was going through all of them. Not that I covered like everything, but then again, most of them, they were defending that thing. So I'm going to explain this question to you using this slide where we see that screening for potential is necessary, or we are just doing it for the keywords. Now, when I gave you the scenario where 500 to 1000 resumes are present and like they are in a bulky form present on the table of HR, तो वो कैसे दिख रहे हैं? वो ऐसे दिख रहे हैं. Now you can see कि इतने सारे resumes आने के बाद में 1000 resumes हैं एक open role के लिए. Now imagine how many open job roles are there, which could be n number of them depending upon the organization at the same time. इतने resumes आने के बाद में मैनुअल स्क्रीनिंग करने के लिए कितने दिन कितने आवर्स लग रहे हैं, और उसको करने के बाद में you are like the recruitment team or the HR team, they are selecting the candidates for their organization. So it's a time taking task, right? Then we move forward, we have AI powered recruitment. So as per the research and as per the sources say that AI has reduced the task, like the time of hire to 30%. And how, if there were 10 hours were needed earlier to filter the resumes and everything, now it is just 7 hours. तो 30% टाइम रिड्यूस हो गया है, जिसकी वजह से जो टेक्नोलॉजी रोल प्ले कर रही है ह्यूमंस के साथ में, उनके लिए चीज बहुत बेनिफिशियल है, बिकॉज नाउ दे कैन मूव फॉरवर्ड विद द रिमेनिंग टास्क दैट दे हैव. So you can see AI powered recruitment tools can reduce time to hire by 30% and save countless hours of manual review. Now, this is actually the sign, the arrow that is going towards the mind, the brain. And इसको हम consider कर सकते हैं कि this is the combination of artificial intelligence with the manual part. So both of them, they are equally important in order to hire the people in the organization. The post-COVID acceleration. Before we move forward, can you please like type yes in the chat section if I am like if you can understand the topic that I'm talking about, and we can move forward with that. Just type yes in the chat section so I can know. Okay. Sounds good. So we have post-COVID acceleration. Now, when you see the word acceleration, it simply means something that is taking the pace and it is going to take. Like जैसे हमने एक्सेलरेटर देखा है गाड़ी में, गाड़ी चलाने के लिए एक्सेलरेटर का यूज होता है, वैसे ही एक्सेलरेशन जो पेस है वो पोस्ट कोविड के बाद आया टेक्नोलॉजी का, artificial intelligence ka. Now it was already there, things were already there in the frame, people were using them, but इसने pace पकड़ा COVID के बाद. Why? Because COVID actually worked like a trigger. It acted like a trigger which actually made things short in this way. So the pandemic didn't change the work. It was already there. Recruitment was already there. People were already working earlier, but it forced organizations to rapidly shift toward the automated data-driven decision making. Now, decisions are supposed to be made, but it is now shifted towards technology. And you can see the graph here. We have 67% organizations which are currently using AI specifically in recruitment. And then we have 99% organizations who are using artificial intelligence and machine learning in different areas. They are using in some form post pandemic. So it's like when the pandemic when the pandemic came in India and it actually came in the world, people started shifting towards online things. So like students are also there here. They also must have attended their classes using Zoom and like Google Meet and etc. So it was just something that actually came in the frame. Classes were already there. People were still learning, but then again, it came in the frame because COVID changed a lot of things, and you can see the graph here. So AI is no longer a future possibility. It is happening now. Things are happening now, and it is the baseline operational requirement. AI does the heavy lifting. Now you can see that there is a scanner here where we can just talk about the recruitment funnel. Now I hope that you know how funnel works. Funnel is basically something that is used, like for example, if we enter into the kitchen now and we are pouring some liquid in the funnel, it is going to filter the essential part that is needed in the cup or the glass or the container. Similarly, ये जो recruitment funnel आप अपने सामने देख रहे हो, this is also doing the same in the organizations. Now in a better way, but this is how things are done. सबसे पहले आप देखोगे awareness create होती है 1000. Now 1000 could be a lucky number here because this is something that we have been using. So awareness is 1000 people are aware for a particular job profile. So these many candidates, the potential candidates that we talk about, know about a particular job opening. Then we have 500 applications. So जैसे ही कोई job opening आती है या job post होती है, 500 applications are there, and people like 500 people are applying through like they're applying the resumes and they're applying their applications, and then out of them 220 people are screened. Not that other people were not efficient, but for that particular job profile at that period of time, these many people were screened. So you can see this is all colored in a blue form. So this is a blue color, right? And you can see in your right and left that the 73% of companies use AI specifically for resume screening. So that is true because this all data that we're showing you here is being taken from the sources, and that's how like we have juggled through different research papers and everything, and that's how we have got you here. So this percent of companies are already using the AI. Now you can see the manual work that was done by the recruitment team earlier must have taken days to actually come to this stage where they can screen 220 candidates. Now comes the interview part where 55 people have actually cracked the interview, and out of them 18 are offered. Now, if you have seen the funnel, it actually has something narrow in the bottom, but this is cut in a half. Like अभी भी आप देखोगे तो offer के बाद में भी बहुत stage है जो हमें cover करनी है. That we are going to do in the next slides, but let's talk about this. So out of 55 people, 18 were offered. Now, in this entire process, how technology is playing the role, 40% of job applications are filtered by AI, 73% of companies are using AI, and 50% faster hiring. So, the time that was spent earlier has been reduced to half just because of the automation, just because of the technology. Now, when we are moving forward, let me again post a question that is going to be there in front of your screen where you have to give an answer according to your preference. The question will be there, and here we have, where do you think AI adds the most value in the recruitment? Now you have seen the funnel here. According to you, where do AI plays the important role, like the most value in recruitment? And we have 4 options for that. Okay. So 95% people have replied resume screening. That is so true because that is something that we consider as one of the starting stages. So when resume screening is there, so many people who are applying, so many candidates who have sent their resumes in the organization, it is very important that we have technology playing the most efficient role at this stage. Like 95, 97% have replied to that, like they agree on resume screening part. And there are 3% people who are saying interview scheduling. Okay, so interview schedule, like just like we said that all the areas are important, but when we talk about the most value, it is resume screening. And now that is going to be proven in the next slide. Where is AI making the biggest impact? Now you can see this chart here. We have four categories given. One is resume screening, where people are adopting this AI part, the technology, in the highest manner. And it is coming up to 68%. Then we have candidate sourcing, where people are using different sources, the portals, to actually source the right candidate for the particular job profile, and that sums up to 55%. Then we have interview scheduling, where 51%, the adoption is there, which adoption is 51%. And then we have candidate engagement, which is also like chatbots. Nowadays, we have also moved towards the chatbots, right? So I'm opening some website, or I'm opening some portal. I'm actually having this pop-up at the bottom right corner, the left corner, where the chatbot is there. And I just have to ask questions. So if I talk about myself and I being a candidate, if I have to post a question or if I have a query, I can easily do so by using the chatbot. So you can see how this adoption, how this percentage is actually signifying the way technology is working in the recruitment area. 43% in the candidate engagement. This is the fastest growing sector. So just like I talked about this example, how candidates, how people are actually using the bots, it is actually getting serious. Now you have the sources mentioned at the bottom left corner, and these are the sources that we actually considered in order to, we juggle through different areas. And this is something that we have mentioned here. From these research papers and their sites, we have actually taken the data to analyze, to understand how things are evolving, how things are getting better. Efficiency for organizations, experience for candidates. So, just like I talked about the potential and the opportunity, and potential was equivalent, like potential was something that we talked about the candidate, and opportunity was something that we talked about organization. Similarly, here we have the efficiency that's needed for the organization and experience for the candidate. So we have categorized the two, where for organizations, we have three things mentioned, where we have faster time to hire, reduced recruitment costs, and data-driven accuracy, which clearly shows that the time of hiring has actually, whatever time was taken earlier for hiring the candidates for the organization has actually become faster. So if a candidate is applying for a job today, for a particular job profile, he or she can expect the thing that things are going to work in a faster way for him, in a favorable way for him or her. The recruitment cost has reduced because the time and the hours and the area that was spent in actually going through all the resumes and everything was equivalent to the cost that was spent by the organization as well. So it has also got reduced in a way where technology along with the humans is playing a nice role. And of course, the data is accurate. People are, when they're applying, they're actually adding their data in a way which is accurate. It is being checked in the background, and it is known that this is something that is authentic. Similarly, for candidates, instant responses and updates are there. So if a candidate is actually is in a very impatient form, that he or she has applied for a job profile and he or she needs the job, so it is something that gives you an instant response, something that makes you feel beneficial, something that makes you feel this way, that we are going to have the instant responses. Better role matching. So according to the JD or the job description uploaded, people get the roles are matched, skill sets are matched, and that's how people know that this is something that they can do. And unbiased initial screening. So just like technology is playing the role, screening is done unbiased, so candidate can trust the part that things are going to work in his or her favor. And now I am seeing the Q&A section and I have not received any. So I'd request you all, if you have any questions or queries, you can post them in the Q&A section so I can resolve them as soon as possible. And just to make the session interactive, just like I said you in the start, you are going to have another question on your screen where you can give your response so we know how things are working. Question is going to be there. Yes, it is here. What do candidates fear most about AI hiring? So we have four options here: unfair rejection, lack of human interaction, data misuse, not understanding the process. So I have started receiving the response. What do candidates fear most about AI hiring? Okay, and people are responding to that. Meanwhile, people are responding. I have this question to raise as well. Okay, so 49% by now have opted for unfair rejection. It's 50% now. That's true. Like this is something that candidates fear the most, that if they don't get rejected, like the if the candidate has applied for a job, the person expects that they get selected in a very like it should not be unfair. The candidate expects that it's done in the most fair way. So that is true. People have opted for lack of human interaction as well. That's true. Just because technology is completely it's completely automated, so the fear is obvious, and people might feel that this is something that is related to lack of human interaction. And that's so true in a way. When I was talking about the when I was talking about the manual and the role that was played by technology and the human, I talked how human tendency, how human empathy, how human interaction is important, right? So yeah. So lack of human interaction is also one of the most feared part. And data misuse. Yeah, obviously, the way technology is advancing, the way people are posting their data online, data misuse is something that is critical, and people think about that a lot. And not understanding the process. Something that is different. It's like when a candidate is fearing that the AI is playing the role, completely automated part is going to be there. People are just going to apply for the jobs online. They are getting interviewed that way. So this is one of the fears which people can have. So now you can see, if I have listed four options, you can see how people are able to understand what kind of fears that are arising. They are able to understand what is something that is critically important, the foundation of organizational success. So I'm going to cover this question with the scenario here. A candidate with an impressive resume and strong interview performance is hired. So when a candidate applied for a job, he or she, with all the skill sets, got selected in the organization. Months later, the struggle with deadlines and repeated errors were there. So the candidate was successfully hired and turned into an employee in the organization. But with the struggle that he or she was going through the deadlines, it actually started playing the role. Now we have the ripple effect. सबसे पहले जानते हैं ripple क्या होता है? If a person is throwing a stone in a pond or a lake, तो जो surface है वो अभी तक normal state में है. But the moment you throw a stone, it actually creates the ripple form, the circles around that part where the stone was thrown. Exactly how ripple effect plays the role in the organization as well. जो सारे टीम मेंबर्स हैं उस एम्प्लॉय के पास, जो न्यूली हायर्ड एम्प्लॉय है हु इज बीन वर्किंग इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, उसके आसपास जितने भी लोग बैठे हैं उन लोगों को उसका वर्कलोड एब्जॉर्ब करना पड़ेगा. कैसे? इफ द एम्प्लॉय इज एक्चुअली स्ट्रगलिंग विद अ पर्टिकुलर टास्क, जिस भी दूसरे एम्प्लॉय को उस टास्क के बारे में अच्छा नॉलेज होगा, या फिर ही और शी कुड हेल्प इन दैट पार्ट in a very deeper way, is going to take that task in his or her hands after putting endless efforts. Work quality decrease होगा क्योंकि the other employees are also using their time in order to get that task done, and the team's overall efficiency is severely compromised. So when the candidate was hired, he or she was hired in the most efficient way. Resume was perfect, the candidate performed so well in the interview, and the organization hired him or her. इसका रिपल इफेक्ट ये हुआ कि चीजें जैसी प्लान की थी उसकी जगह बाउंस बैक हुई. And now you can understand the goal of recruitment. Just like I talked through, recruitment is not just filling seats. बहुत सारे resumes आ रहे हैं एक job profile के लिए. But it's not just about filling the seats. It's about finding the right candidate, hiring in the organization, and make things beneficial for the people who are already there in the organization. So if a right candidate was hired with the efficient resume and the skill set, and if he or she has worked according to the expectations, the other team members would have worked in their own ways. They would not have absorbed the workload, things would have been different, and the team would have led to a different path. So this is how the foundation of organizational success is playing the role. Accordingly, Just like we talked, the candidates fear most about AI hiring. Organization is also in this space where they want, if they're using their technology, they do have certain fears when they are hiring the new candidate in the organization. Of course, the work culture matters. Of course, the candidate is also going to play the role in the organization. He or she, with the skill set he or she came with, is also going to play the role. So it's the equivalent. The fear is equivalent on both sides, and this is how things are working. Navigating the complexities of automated hiring. Now, you can see, just like we've been talking about the technology and how it is playing the role, we have categorized them in the risk and the mitigation factor. When we are going to go through this slide, you have to remember the example that I gave you with the article that I read from the Anthropic AI CEO, who feared that jobs are going to be replaced by the technology. So humans will be replaced by the technology. So we are going to talk about the risk and the mitigation here. First of all, we have bias in algorithms, AI learning from historically human biased data. So, for example, like I can break this thing for you. For example, when I was searching something, I fed some data like in the system, and that was basically related to gender. Okay, so we'll keep it neutral. Now, the gender I preferred for that particular job profile was male or female. It could be either. So the risk here is that the AI is actually working on the part where it is reading the past data, the historical data. There could be chances when the candidate is applying for the open job role, AI is going to play the role and is going to filter the candidates according to the criteria that I said earlier. This is the risk. And now we have the mitigation. We have got the answer to it, that we can mandate the diverse training data sets, which could help in a continuous algorithm auditing. Now it can happen this way, that different data sets can be prepared using technology, where different data can be fed to the system. So whenever this kind of searching happens, whenever the user is searching something for a particular thing, he or she can get the right response. So this is something that we can improvise. This is something that we can work with. So the risk is there, but things can be improved this way. Then we have lack of transparency, which is opaque decisions eroding trust. And lack of transparency here means it could be something that we can relate to black box thing. So the candidate who has applied for a job, he or she might not even know why the person got rejected. So the person applied for it and stayed hopeful that he is going to get a response. But the response was that you're rejected. Now the person doesn't know at what part he or she needs to improve. The mitigation to it is that we can implement explainable AI, which is also called as XAI, that provides clear criteria for candidate ranking. At least when the candidate is being categorized into something, the ranking can be provided so the candidate can also know and the transparency can be maintained. So there is no opaque wall, it's just the transparent thing that is happening. Then there is data privacy concerns, so handling massive volumes of personal data. So just like one person wrote here that the data privacy is also something that we should think upon. Data privacy concerns are there because so much of the data is already there online, and it is present in a massive volume. So this is a part of risk. But if we talk about the mitigation one, regulatory, like there's so many compliance protocols and data governance standards set by the government who are working on that, which prevents data leakage this way, which prevents the data from being misused. So that is something that we can consider as a pro. Fourth risk is over reliance on automation. Just like that, everything is being done by AI, everything is done automated, everything that is being said. So it misses the soft skill. If everything is going to be done by a robot, if everything is going to be done by a machine, the human empathetic skills, the soft skills are going to be lost somewhere. So the mitigation here is that humans should remain in the loop when the hiring is done. So the human can play the role in the final process, and that depends upon the organizational requirement as well. So the final hiring decisions can be made in the right way. The question isn't whether AI will change recruitment, just like I told you that AI is something that is the present reality. The question is how recruiters will evolve it. So the risk is there, but mitigation is also visible. Apart from that, we have got a question from Jeet, and the question is, how will you hire a right candidate? As today candidates have AI, they just use JD and ask AI to make CV a perfect match as per JD. Hence, he is shortlisted by AI. Thank you so much, Jeet, for the question. Now, this question itself speaks a lot about it. To know that, just like I talked about that scenario, that the candidate seems perfect, he or she got hired in the organization and everything, and the candidate enters into the organization, starts working and everything. So technology is something that is working in the efficient way possible, but it is still not like something can happen that way, right? The candidate, if hired in the organization, it is not something that can be done by AI. It cannot exactly predict if this candidate is right for them or not. That is provided that JD is being like candidate matches the resume with the JD and prepares that and comes in the organization and starts working. But things are going to come out in a way. So yeah, shortlisting is going to be done, hiring is going to be done. That depends upon the scenario as well, but things are going to come out in a way. Then we have recruitment identifies talent, onboarding activates it. Now, while we move this way, you can see the bridge is already there. Just like I talked about the recruitment funnel earlier, there was some part that was missing in the bottom, right? So you can see there's a bridge here, recruitment at the left corner and productivity at the right one. So it is being connected with the intelligent onboarding, and bridge is something that connects the 2 points, the two nodes. So in order to take the candidate inside the organization as an employee, a path is needed, and that can be completed with an onboarding part. There are 3 pointers that are mentioned under this bridge which say AI automatically transfers data directly from ATS to onboarding platforms. So just like Jeet questioned regarding the JI, like regarding JD being matched with, like when used with AI and CV being perfectly prepared, ATS also plays the role in that. The right keywords are set for the resumes, people prepare that way. So yeah, that is also important, and that is something that actually takes the recruitment path in a better form. Generates employment documents and dynamic compliance checklist. This shows that the data changes automatically based on the situation. So when a candidate actually is taken into the organization, starts moving in a way and the person gets hired. And after the person gets hired in the organization, training programs and the orientation programs are there where the person gets the training for how the culture is there, how the work culture is there, and the candidate gets the chance to know more about it. So this is something where recruitment is identifying the talent, but onboarding is something that is giving the spark to it. It is activated. We have the landscape 2026 and beyond. So you can see this image on the screen where we have the most bottom part we have today, screening and scheduling, and that is highlighted in the dark blue form. So that is something that the outer areas are covered with orange pointers and the inner areas are with the blue one. So today we are using the technology in screening and scheduling with the most efficient form. And then we have these orange pointers, which are signifying the four things. One, blockchain credentials. So this is the landscape that we are thinking upon. This is something that is going to play a huge role in the future. First is blockchain credentials. Fraud and proof verification can be done using the degrees and the history of the candidate when he or she is applying for a particular job profile. VR interviews, this is something that is considered in the scope for now. Virtual reality, job simulations to assess practical problem solving if the candidate is actually suitable for that particular job profile. So this is something that can be assessed in the real time manner. Third is behavioral AI. Advanced analysis can be done where the candidate is actually going with the speech patterns, how the person is moving his or her hands. it actually helps, the technology actually helps in analyzing if the candidate is the right person for the job or not. And then automated ecosystem. AI is actually predicting the talent and continuously sourcing the global pools. So this is something that is going to create an automated firm. So of course, humans are going to play the role, but this is something that is considered on a broader scope part. While we move forward, there's again going to be a question on your screen where you can just give answers in that way. In just 1 second. And now you have got the question. If AI rejects your resume, what would you do? So you have got these four options to pick from. If AI rejects your resume, what exactly you're going to do for that? Okay, so people have started responding that if AI rejects your resume, what would you do? Improve keywords in the resume. That is something that people have picked the most, which is the person is still growing. So yeah, the keywords are needed to be improved, and that can be done using ATS. Then people have written network and referrals that still works in a very favorable mode where people can actually use the networks in order to get the right hiring done if the resume is rejected. Apply to other roles. This is something that can be considered, but it is not something that is most efficient to work with. And fourth is don't know. So the answer for don't know is going to be the first one, that the resume keyword, the keywords that are being mentioned in the resume should actually match with the job profile. It's not that you have to enter the wrong ones. It's more like that the skill set should match the role that the candidate is applying for. So this is something that is going to play the role. Okay, so we have AI recruitment toolkit on our slide where four categories are there: sourcing and matching, screening and ATS, engagement, assessment and scheduling. So with these four categories, it can be known that there are various recruitment tools that are already there in the market, and some of them are mentioned here as well. And this is the kind of areas where people are using the technology in the most efficient form. So this is the toolkit that is being present in front of you, and you can go through them all. Then we have the AI versus human equation. So you see the Venn diagram that is present in front of you, where the orange line specifies algorithmic precision and the blue line says human intuition. So just like I talked about technology playing the role with AI, with humans, this is how the intelligent ecosystem is built. When the candidate applies for a job, the screening and the initial stages can be actually done using the technology, using the AI, just like we saw from different sources and the percentage posted. The final decisions can be taken by humans. So this is something that is balancing the two different areas in the most efficient way, and the candidate is hired in the organization for the right skill set. We have massive data processing and speed that can be improvised using technology, objective pattern recognition and keyword matching, just like there in the JD and the resumes, automated scheduling and initial screening. Apart from that, if I talk about the human intuition, then when a candidate gets selected, there are chances that the candidate is going to show his or her behavior, which can be analyzed by the human sitting behind the desk. So it actually works in the favorable way, and this is how the candidate is hired in the most efficient form. Beyond resumes, beyond automation, recruitment is no longer just about filling positions, it's about building intelligent, adaptive ecosystems. So, this is something that we talk about. Technology is just not about the candidate posting the resume and getting selected. It's beyond that. Technology is so vast, it is advancing just in a way like day by day, and that's how it is being connected with the global firm. This is beyond resumes and beyond automation. Recruitment is something where people actually have to hire the candidates in the most efficient form and enter into the organization. There are a few questions that are being posted. Let me go through them. Okay, so Prateek has posted, how reliable are AI assessments when evaluating candidates across different languages? That's a very nice question, Prateek. If we talk about the AI assessments, something that is being done, like assessments are created by the machines. So this is something that we can talk about, that this is not completely reliable, but it can be processed under human observation. So Pratik, I can give you an example of this. I was just watching a video earlier back in that time, and there was this video that was playing, and when that video completed, there was a heading that came, like the heading popped up, and that said, the video is created by AI under human observation. So that pretty much says a lot about your, like the answer of this question, that we can rely upon AI for the assessment part, and for different areas as well, but under human observation. Then we have next question from Jeet. How this AI will help for blue collar hiring when they're not aware about the process and technology. So Jeet, actually things work this way in this technology and the process form. People are going to be aware with like there are different sources where people can raise the awareness that this is how technology is playing the role in the hiring part. So I'm not saying that it is going to take the industry away entirely, but this is something with which people are moving at a pace. This is something that people have started adapting, so they can improvise, so they can head towards the improvised manner. So we talk about the blue collar hiring. It's not particularly for that. It's specifically this way that people have started to, the more people are getting to know about it, the more they're shifting towards that. So they're not completely relying upon it, but they have started using the part of it. Okay, there's one more question from Sachin. AI is helping us to recruit people smartly. On the other hand, AI is eating people's job. How do you see it? Thank you so much, Sachin, for the question. It's completely true that AI is actually helping in the recruitment in a very smart way. But eating the people's job is something that we need to talk about. So people who have started adapting the technology in the efficient way have started to know the note of it. So it's not like it is going to eat the job. It's just that whoever is going to evolve with that, whoever is going to move towards with that, is going to get into a better position than before. So it's not like that things are going to go out of hands. It's just that it can be handled in the most improvised way. So it is to know that technology too is created by humans. Technology is too handled by humans. So it is still there. We are still working on it. We are relying over it. But to take away the job is something that is strong, very strong to say upon. People have to evolve with that, to know how technology is working in their work role and how things are like, being enhanced. Okay, there's one more question from Devangana. Can you can you also suggest how can we utilize Copilot, Gemini, Claude for a day-to-day recruitment activities, for example, screening resumes, interview scheduling, etc. Given lot of organization does have budget challenges for paid tools. Thank you, Divangna, for actually making us aware about it. Like a lot many people need to talk about this topic. This is something when you have mentioned about these tools here, these tools can be used for the appropriate prompt that one can create, the user can create for their recruitment and the hiring part. But if I talk about the tools that can actually like be are efficient enough to make them screen the resumes or schedule the interviews, this can be done. There's so many toolkit, like the toolkit is already there, just like I showed you in the previous slide. So many recruitment tools are already there. This can be done. So it's just that you can use them in the most efficient way, and some of them they are budget friendly as well. So it's just that according to the requirement, things can be explored and things can be worked. There are tools that I mentioned in the recruitment toolkit slide as well, that there are HireVue and Paradox. So these tools are already there which can be used. So some of them, they are specifically working for a particular role. Could be screening, could be shortlisting and everything. But I'm going to give you the solution of it in the coming slide. Okay. There's one more question from Boja Chandu. is there any good website that recruiters use to learn the AI recruitment, which is open source? So basically, there are different kind of websites and different like internet is filled with different internet is filled with the vast information that can be accessed and that can be like it actually makes you understand how things are working. So there's no specific one, and you cannot categorize them as the good one, but you can explore that in the efficient way according to your requirement. Okay, so we have got this slide with this that things are working beyond resumes and beyond automation, and that's how we are moving forward, and that's how intelligent hiring is done. Just like people have posted the questions, it's open that people can ask more questions if they have any kind of queries, they can post them in the Q&A section. And if you want me to proceed, you can just type yes in the chat section so I know that we are moving forward. Okay. Okay, so people have started typing yes, so let's move forward. Key takeaways. Now, just understand this is not the end of the session. This is something that is going to take you to the different part of what I was just talking about all through. First of all, let's summarize what we have covered so far. First, AI is revolutionizing recruitment by automating repetitive tasks and speeding up the hiring process. It's basically helping the recruiters to work in the efficient way. AI is enabling data-driven decisions, which is improving the quality of candidate selection. So the candidate are hired in the most efficient form. AI enhances candidate experience through personalization and faster communication. So people are able to get into the faster communication format, and things are personalized that way. Last and not the least, human judgment, ethics, and empathy. Just like I talked about technology is playing the role, human role is also important. Human empathy is also important. Human still has to sit behind the desk in order to analyze if the candidate that is being hired, and not just the recruitment part, in the immense areas as well, that the person who's coming in the organization is actually moving towards the right path or not. That is where empathy is important, ethics are important in order to understand the work culture. Okay, so there was one question posted here where they were talking about something that was related to the tools, right? So you can see it here. We have Timelabs, your intelligent talent ecosystem. Now, what ecosystem is where you have different areas that are being connected at just one place. So Timelabs is that place where we are covering different areas, including ATS, automated resume screening, and parsing and candidate screening, direct bridge to onboarding. So the bridge that I was talking about, how recruitment is connected to the opportunity and to the potential and everything, that is how it is connected with onboarding and seamless interview scheduling. So it is playing a major role in having the recruitment taken into a positive form. Just like we are moving with this slide, let me show you a video where you can understand how this process is working in that efficient way. Okay, so screen is visible to you. The video is already there. And you can see the screen itself is saying the candidate match with job descriptions, resumes, and the match. So let me play this video for you so you can understand how things are working. Okay, so user is actually selecting a job description from the system. Then user is moving towards the resumes part where the resume is uploaded. Now this is the bulk resumes are already there in the system. The user is just using one of them. And now you can see the job description that was being taken is parsed here. So the process is taking this pace, and the job description is going to be passed. Now it is going to take all the keywords and all the necessary and the essential data which can be used for the resume. Resume is also uploaded, and now when user clicks on match by selecting the check boxes, it is going to enter into the queue. And once queued, the result is shown. So you can see this is how this thing worked efficiently. And now user is going to enter into the job description section, and there's this thing which says generating questions and generating factors. So generating questions here means questions related to the job description that are automatically created here, and feedback factors as well. So you can see the interview questionnaire is there where 3 categories are given from beginner to hard, and then feedback factors where interviewer knows what to ask, and if the candidate is hired, which candidate to, like, what skill set to match with. So everything is there, and you can see the result is visible. So just by this video, can you tell me in the chat section or in the Q&A section what exactly made you learn, what exactly made you go through, and what exactly did you realize that what is happening? So before that, let me brief it to you that it was just a job description that was posted, resume was also posted, then matched, and the result was calculated. Timelabs is actually working on this process, and just like optimization never ends, the process is being worked upon where it is making the task easier for the recruitment team to work in the efficient way. When the job description can, and of course job descriptions and like job description can be matched with bulk like resumes. So it could actually match with one to many relationship where one job description is matched with different resumes. So it is making the task easier, it is making the task efficient. It is actually reducing the time that was taken earlier in order to match if this profile is suitable, if this resume, if the candidate is suitable for that particular job profile or not. So this is how this entire thing is working. This is something that is being worked upon, and this is something that is being created for the efficiency, for the people to use the recruitment part in the most efficient form and to hire the right candidate for their organization for the particular job role. And when matched, it actually shows the matched percentage, which signifies the recruiter, or which actually helps the recruiter or the recruitment team to understand that this is something that we require, this is something that is needed, this is something that is going to give us the brighter future. And with the interview like feedback factors, questions are also created, like factors are also created where the interviewer can see this is something that they are looking for in the candidate for that particular job role. And when interview questions are created using the job description, it gets easier for the interviewer to understand that these are the type of questions that are being asked, that are supposed to be asked from the candidate to understand the profile, and like, to actually hire the candidate for this particular job profile. So I hope this video was helpful for you in order to understand this. Let me go back to the PPT. And here we are. So when the person was talking about the tool that can be used, this is something that is this is something that is being built. This is something that can help the other people. This is something that can help the people to actually hire the candidate, to actually use the recruitment, and to actually use this process in the most efficient way. Just like we are on the last slide of ours, which is thank you one. A question is going to be posted just in a second. You can actually answer to this. Apart from that, thank you so much for joining this session. It was actually wonderful with you all. Something that actually made me feel happier about this session is that people were interactive, people were posting questions, and I tried my best to answer most of them. This is the series that is started now. You can find HR Samvad on LinkedIn, and the link is going to be mentioned below. You can join it from there. More sessions are going to be lined up, so they are just there in the corner, are being prepared. So you just have to stay intact, and things are going to get better with that. So thank you so much for joining. It was wonderful with you all. And if you have any questions or queries, you can